That's interesting. Yeah. So what my first software testing job was, I did network testing when I first got out of school, and then I switched over and kind of got into software testing. And that was where I started at Lockheed Martin. That was actually what pushed me into automation, interestingly enough. I started my first project there. I was actually working on a battleship, and I was testing the integrated software components as part of that. And the only outputs that we had were we would run some kind of simulations and we would try and stress the software. And the only outputs we had were these long binary outputs, like pages and pages of ones and zeros. And we would then get to go through and say, yeah, is that correct or not? And there are other things that we were testing, but the really technical part of it was that. And that was absolutely miserable because no one wants to stare at a few lines of binary and say, is it correct or not, let alone pages of it. And so the only tool actually that I had at my disposal was Perl. It happened to be on the system. I was working on kind of a classified network for part of this, and we couldn't just install whatever tools we wanted. And I had never used Perl before, but I had some PHP background, and they're not that dissimilar. And so I started writing scripts to analyze, basically say, hey, this is the input that I think, this is what it then gets translated into in ones and zeros, and then here's the output. And so if we could come up with our expected output and we had the actual output, we could compare those and it just spit out where the differences were. And it really was kind of my first foray into automation. And I had no experience. I had no kind of training on it. It was just I don't want to do this manually. Let's see what I can script up and go from there.